Imagine holding a glowing, priceless diamond necklace. Now, imagine a powerful king is offering it to you. You have absolutely nothing, while he has everything. But instead of taking it, you respectfully push it away. In any normal hierarchy, this doesn't make sense. We expect people with zero wealth to leap at the chance to acquire it, especially when it is handed down from absolute authority. Rejecting a king's treasure invites danger. We find this exact scenario documented right here in the story, Sonere Mahal Ki Dasi. It is a classic fable that breaks down the actual mechanics of wealth and authority. To figure out how a servant could turn down a king's ransom, we have to flip the dynamic. We need to look closely at the man holding the diamonds and the quiet emptiness surrounding him. King Devraj ruled the Sooryagarh Empire. He commanded a massive army. His treasury was overflowing, and his palace was an endless display of extreme luxury. Yet, surrounded by all that gold and military strength, Devraj lived with a heavy, persistent loneliness. The wealth did nothing to fill the quiet isolation inside his own head. The source text reveals the root of this isolation. Servants were so terrified they trembled carrying out orders. Looking at this page, we imagine the weight of that environment. Beautiful gardens are completely drowned out by a thick, suffocating dread. A kingdom built entirely on fear and material excess isolates the person at the top. The king was trapped in a gilded cage of his own making, creating a complete vacuum where genuine human connection should have been. Into this vacuum walks a single exception, a maid named Meera. Meera was responsible for tending the royal gardens and the king's private chambers. While the rest of the staff shook with anxiety, she approached her work with a quiet honesty, offering the king water or pawn with a simple, relaxed smile. For a monarch spending his days tangled in complex military strategies and high-stakes politics, this was jarring. The moment Meera walked into the room, the heavy tension in his shoulders would dissolve. The most powerful man in the Sooryagarh Empire found his focus shifting. A ruler who dictated the movements of massive armies began spending his days quietly waiting for a servant to come arrange the flowers, just so he could talk to her. Without realizing it, Meera had bypassed the palace's rigid power structure. She supplied the one thing Devraj's immense treasury couldn't purchase: genuine, unforced human respect. Devraj wanted to show his appreciation, but his entire life had taught him only one way to communicate value. So he offered her a massive, priceless diamond necklace. Which brings us right back to that opening moment. Meera looked at a fortune that could buy entire estates and politely, firmly said no. Her reasoning is laid out clearly in the text. She tells the king that these precious diamonds are of no use to her. Her true reward is her sense of duty, his respect, and the happiness of the people. Devraj was used to people who wanted a piece of his wealth or power. Meera wanted neither. Her refusal demonstrated an absolute immunity to the greed that drove everyone else in his court. She operated on an entirely different scale of value. Because her identity was already rich with purpose and integrity, the king's diamonds held exactly zero purchasing power in her personal economy. Watching her walk away from the diamonds forced Devraj to reassess his own values. He recognized that her clear conscience made her vastly more valuable than any ambitious royal or sycophant circling his throne. He didn't hide his realization. In front of the entire royal court, Devraj proposed marriage, asking a lowly palace maid to become his queen. The immediate reaction was fierce resistance. The established courtiers pushed back hard, defending the strict traditional boundaries of status and royal bloodlines. Devraj stood his ground. He argued to the room that the defining qualification for a queen is not an aristocratic pedigree. It requires a mind and a heart larger than those of born princesses, qualities Meera had already proven she possessed. Meera accepted his proposal because it was rooted in genuine love and respect, rather than transactions of power. And as this final line shows, the entire kingdom happily accepted her as their most compassionate leader. Devraj started with all the money and authority in the world, yet he was completely impoverished. It took someone with zero material assets to show him that true nobility isn't inherited or hoarded in a treasury. It is built entirely on the quiet, unshakable strength of a selfless character.